Hello and welcome everyone to another Iceberg interactive Twitch stream, and we're continuing our game of Oriental Empires today. Thank you all for coming and welcome again. If you like what you're seeing, you can obviously subscribe or follow our Twitch channel, which would be really awesome. And I should add that we have a little contest going that amongst the newest followers of our channel, we will be giving away a boxed copy of Oriental Empires of this particular game. So that is a great incentive to show your support for us. That would be great. In the meantime, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, I'd love to hear it, either here in the chat, on the Steam forums, or via the email. That would be great if you could get in touch. As for today, we will be continuing our game. You can see it right here. We've been playing it for the past 2 weeks, since release basically. And we were about to go to war with our ally. So we have a ally to our north. And they were in our north, to our north at the beginning. But they have been spreading south as well. And we feel a little bit too much enclosed by them and unsafe. So I don't want to rely on them for too much. So the plan was made last week to get into war and do it quickly. Try and get a little bit of an advantage over these guys. So one particular thorn in my eye is the city of Yin-Yang over here, which they took from our former enemies. And another one is the town of Guizhou, which we definitely want to have for ourselves, since our eventual aim will be to have a trading empire via the sea over here, and then using the ships to raid deep into enemy territories. That would allow us to become the biggest one. Now, our starting setup is not great. We have 3 cities over here very close to each other. They're actually hurting each other a little bit. Unfortunately, the middle one is our capital, so we cannot do a whole lot about them. We already discussed last week, you know, it would be pretty convenient if one of our enemies could take the city, so we could take it, plunder it, and destroy it. Alright, let's see what we have here. So, we are here in turn 38. We have a big stack over here. The enemy has a big stack over here. Well, they're our allies now still. They are friendly, the Donghu. And we want to raise an army to send north. So, the plan was to head north, take the town of Guizhou, thereby luring the stack in Yin-Yang to attack us and ambush them in the mountain pass. So that's the long and short of it, and that's what we're going to be trying and doing today. So the first thing I'll be doing is set our ambush stack right over here, and we might need to bring in, remove some archers from the stack, send some north, and add some melee troops, but we can do that later. Next, I am going to be recruiting some troops in the town of Gu. We're going to raise an army. We have money to raise an army, so that's what we're going to do. Exactly, Master Band. We are going for the surprise attack here. So I'm first going to recruit some heavy spearmen. These guys are pretty darn good. They're much stronger troops than the militia. And they are also very good at fighting against mounted units or chariots. So they should give us an edge in combat. So I want 4 of those in my stack. We can have up to 8 units in a stack, if you all remember. And I am going to add some archers. You need archers in order to take walls, or to burn them down, essentially. And a unit of chariots. So that's going to be our main strike force right here. This is a pretty decent force, especially considering we have an armor upgrade right over here on our spearmen. And you can see they are pretty heavily armored. They have nice cuirasses to defend their chests. They have big shields and long spears. These are well-trained and potent troops. Our archers much less so, but we will use them only in the early phases of combat. And our nobles are on the chariots. And the chariots are pretty good shock troops, though they can get stuck in enemy lines, which might cause them to get destroyed. But they also carry bows, so they are pretty versatile units overall and nice to have. We were going to probably use them to flank the enemy. So I'm going to send this troop north. The good news is that this particular city does not have walls yet. That might change pretty soon, so we're bringing some archers regardless. And I'm also going to increase my force in the town of Yi. And we have some spearmen already there. Hey Labrayev! How are you doing? Glad you could join us. Yes, thank you so much for the compliment. If you Hope you'll get to play the game pretty soon. We're recruiting a stack here and we're sending it north, just to let them know we're watching. Now, I think military-wise we are in a good position now. We can wait with recruiting more troops later on. Our economy will take a little bit of a hit. That's okay for now, though. We got farms coming up, so our population will be growing further. So with that, I'm going to hit the end turn button. And that will conclude our first turn. So it is a simultaneous turn-based strategy game, which means that when we hit end turn, all of the orders, my own, but also all of my enemies and all the other factions, are executed in real time at the same time. So we cannot control anything what's happening in this real-time phase, but we do get to see it in action. We can zoom in all the way, see the enemy armies, see them fight, see them positioning, and it is in real time, so timing does very much matter. A turn does not happen in an instant. So if you get somewhere before the enemy and you're both trying to move to the same location, you will beat them to it. You can set up defensive positions and fight them off. Alright, so we were also trying to finish our road network, and we just managed to do so. Look at that, we got trade going on in various ways. What we do need, though, is we do need some extra roads here around this settlement. There we go. Which means you can intercept instead of enemies moving past you on their turn. Exactly, Cabbage. Exactly, that's what I'm talking about. So glad you could join us again, and you can actually log into Twitch this time, which is nice. Is there a diplomatic impact of your troop? Well, there is. The thing is, there's no fixed rating, but your the enemy will get very cautious of it. They will respond to it, and they might even chase you out if you're neutral and you're in their territory, and perhaps looting even. They can kick you out without formally declaring war, because you're in their territory. Let's see. So we got farms coming up. We are building quite a number of things. I recall investing quite a lot. So, for example, here we have a weaponsmith that should bring us greater troops. At Lingzhou, what were we building? We were building improved pottery. So a ceramics factory, which will increase our trade income a fair bit again. And over here we have started constructing a wall because we think we are going to be at war, and Yin is very, very ill protected at the moment. Now, it's not our most important city, so we can actually lose it if we want to. It's not a vital city for us. It was more of a, well, we have this settler, what do we do with it? So if we lose it, that's okay, as long as we get something for it in return. But for now, it does bring us a fair bit of income just by taxation, so it's nice to keep, but not vital to our plans. We are also trading to Yin-Yang at the moment, and considering we might take it, we could consider building a road network up to there, but that might be something for later. So far, it's nice to see the road network developing, also in AI nations. We are playing the Warring States era, so China is a little bit more developed than if you would play the Grand Campaign. Will it affect your standing with the other states, though? Do they not really care what you're up to in somebody else's land? I am not quite sure. I don't think it matters too much, though looting might influence it, but I don't think that's too big a deal, unless of course you play multiplayer, so where, you know, the everybody is always watching what you're doing, but often you don't necessarily see what the other guys are doing. Let's see, all of our guys are farming. There's not a whole lot to do at this point. These guys we're gonna set to sleep so we don't get the notifications. Labrive is saying, hi, I'm good. I play a lot of Total Wars and Endless Legend, also practicing Tai Chi, and I'm interested in Chinese culture. So this game is a big combo. Yeah, this definitely sounds like a game for you. If you're into strategy game and into 4X games, and you're also into Chinese history and culture, this is a very interesting game, for sure. So I would invite you to try it out. So it's great that you're joining us in the stream so you can see more about the game. If you have any questions about the game, also Labrive, please drop them here. And we have the weaponsmith completed, and what's nice about having the weaponsmith completed is that we get an additional unit to recruit. So we got the army halberds now. We don't have any of the recruits ready for the trained armies, so we're actually training. It should take about 2 turns before we get new ones. But it is nice to have. Our economy is still pretty solid. I'd like to expand with a foundry, because the foundry... Actually, we are out of space for buildings, so we can only add more if we actually upgrade the settlement. Hi, Singapore Trek Lizard. How are you doing? So glad you could join us. And the town of Gu really wants to expand, so let's just keep on farming for now. We can have them expand later if we have the cash, if we have the dough. So there's a scout over here. They're friendly. Now, one thing I should note, that even though these guys don't have professional soldiers yet, they have tribal units, and tribal spearmen are much more potent than the militias that we have. That's because they are a herder faction. So the idea is that their troops are a bit more rugged, or at least their militia can endure more hardships and are a bit tougher guys than you would otherwise have. So we're going to set up here in the trees. I'm going to rotate my stack. And I will later recruit like a defensive army over here. There we go. That's going to be it for now. Our troops are crossing the river. That's always nice, of course. I mean, we are in a pretty good position in this game. I think we have our... The thing is that these guys that we're going to be fighting now, first of all, they're our allies at the moment. Second of all, they're the strongest guys on the block. The toughest kid on the block. They're the strongest guys out there. So we need to be very careful at how we manage it and what we do exactly. More farms are being completed, which is always nice. Especially around Lingzhou, which we can always do more farming. And we need to keep on growing in these cities. So farming is a slow process because we use most of the available farm ground in our biggest cities. And that means that the other farm ground you have are like hills or swamps or even mountains, and they take longer to convert to farmland. Good morning, Quirt. Glad you could join us. Well, it's pretty much afternoon here, but there you go. Hope you're enjoying your breakfast. We have some nice gold here. I can't remember. Yeah, we were mining a little bit already, so that adds to our income. If we look at our income right here, we can see we have a pretty decent income through agriculture, through taxes, and a nice little boost through trade. So trade is definitely helping us out here. When we look at the expenses, we are mostly paying for army upkeep because we have a big standing army at the moment, especially after the latest recruitments, and a fairly big building upkeep, as well as 500 from the centralization edict, our central bureaucracy edict. That's something to make note of as well. We can add private land ownership. It will cost us an additional 300 and additional unrest, but it increases the food production, thus your population, thus hopefully in turn you'll get the money back as soon as you're big enough. I want to wait a little bit longer with that until I have a more solid economy, perhaps after this war. Still asleep, but coffee brewing. Yeah, I love that good coffee in the morning. That's a good position to be in. Alright, I'm going to hit the unturn button. You see, our armies are not blocking each other. That is because, of course, we are allies. We allow each other to pass. I could break the alliance now. That might be better. I have a question. How much people can play cooperation or multiplayer? I think we currently support up to 15 in a single game. That is a little bit too much for comfort, though. I think the ideal group, gameplay-wise, would be like, if you can get 6-7 people. That could be a very interesting multiplayer game. So I would support that. You can do more if you like, but it's a bit tricky. Attack Y within 7 turns. We're not going to do that, shall? Your heir is called Ding Dong. Yeah, that's meme material right there. Alright, we did not do that on purpose, I promise. Alright, let's see. So we're gonna cancel. They are much weaker at the moment, so we're gonna cancel our agreement. We're gonna declare let's see. Where? Recognize as vassal, become emperor. I suppose we could challenge them to become our vassals and say, "Other if you don't, we declare war." We're willing to pay them for it. They're never gonna accept. Obviously, they're pretty strong. Oh, did they accept now? Oh no, we declared their I messed up. I declared them vassal. Then we're gonna rebel against them, against their overlord. That was a stupid thing of mine. Actually, perhaps I should reload. Quick game. There you go. Sorry about that, guys. Talking and playing at the same time is not always a good thing. Everyone who just joined us, welcome. So glad you could make it. I'm just going to load up my game here. We got the autosave. So glad you could make it. And we should mention that we have a little bit of a contest running. So if you guys... Yeah, sorry about that, Masterman. If you... Oh, that was one too late. Loads. If you guys follow our channel right now, you will have a chance to actually make or win a boxed copy of the game. So that's pretty interesting. That's pretty neat. Alright, so this time around, we're not going to make that deal. I think we're just going to declare them war. That's it. Next turn. We need to intercept this guy so he won't start looting. And we need some troops over here. Why does succession always destroy my games? So if you have a lot of succession wars and a lot of rebels as a result, which can happen obviously, well, first of all, make sure you have an heir, and if you don't risk losing your faction leader. Keep him safe. Is it an autograph copy? No, it is not, unfortunately. It is not an autograph copy. I can autograph it for you if you like. I have no issue with that, but not by the dev, unfortunately. They're in all the way in Thailand, so getting that autographed and then sent back is a bit of a hassle, considering we're based in the Netherlands ourselves. All right, let's see. Yeah, so about the civil unrest, yes, you have your authority rating, and that's right here in the bottom left. And we have a high authority. If you have low authority and your leader dies and you don't have an heir, your nobles might rebel, think that you're a weak leader, and they have more authority, more right to rule than you. So then you get these rebellions. So keeping your authority high, keeping your heir safe, that's what you want to be doing. That's how you can prevent it. And obviously keeping your nobles happy adds a lot. Alright, let's see. So you guys are going to continue scouting. That's nice. We have some scouts here. We got scouts all over the place. And I'm going to put them to auto-scout again, I think. There we go. Master Man says, I take a starter autograph. Oh, it's a very pretty one. I'm very good at drawing things. I don't think you can use an edict to get an heir. You can get additional characters, but I don't think they're heirs. So I don't think that would work. The trick is, if you use your character in combat, give them the defensive policy, like I did right here, for example. So he's leading the archers, and he's providing the combat bonus. But he is not actually, he's on defending himself. So he's just going to sit back here and relax while the archers are going to harass the enemy. So unless we get attacked very quickly, we won't be doing it. So Zhao is offering us to attack the Bai. We're going to ignore that. And we have a new heir ourselves right over here in Gu. So that's pretty good. So even if our leader should die right now, of which there is always a chance if you bring him to combat, we won't risk that much of an issue. I'm gonna send my my Shi north, I think. All right, so we can do more farms at Yi, which is very good. So are you a developer? Doomed World is asking. Hi Doomed World, thank you for joining us. No, I am not. I'm a producer for Iceberg Interactive. We're the publisher of the game. The game has been developed by Bob Smith and Shining Pixel Studios all the way in Thailand. So I am not the developer. I wish I could take credit for this project, but I was merely assisting here and there. How to enter the contest? So just follow our channel. That's all you have to do. That's what they told me, at least. So if you can just follow us, we'll get a notification that you're following us, and that will enter you into the channel pool. And in the mean, guys, to those who are just joining in, we're playing Oriental Empires, continuing our warring states scenario, and we are almost ready to declare war on our ally. We're going to betray them. We're going to be going to war. And the die is cast now, so we need to recruit some troops in Gu to keep the rebels in check. The West Gate. Let's recruit some heavy spearmen or some of the halberds. They are more expensive. More against cavalry and chariots, so I think we're just going to go with the normal troops for now. Assisted by some archers. I'm just gonna get some breakfast. Alright, enjoy your breakfast. Oh, you have Polish language. I see Techland. Yes, Techland is going to be the distributor for the Polish box version, so there will be a version near you with Polish language support. So about the family tree, is there always a child, or can brothers, uncles, etc. inherit? The thing is, it is a little bit abstracted, if I have to be completely honest, and the reason for that is there is no real family tree, and the reason for that is that the game spans about 3,000 years of history. So having real families would mean that, well, your leaders would only be alive for 2 or 3 turns, which is too short to really get attached to them, for it to really make sense. So we had to abstract it a little bit. So you have an heir, and whether or not that's the son or the brother, it doesn't really matter for the game's logic. Alright, you guys are going there, you guys are going to be staying here. And we might actually be tempted just to take it and burn it down. They should have an army here still. Did they move it south? Let's see if we can approach them. And we need to recruit some troops in Yin, because otherwise they are fresh meat. There's no wall still, and no garrison. So the enemy could just walk in, which we don't like. There's a game of paratroopers. Thank you so much, Ween Wizard. I really missed that one. Some guys. Let's see, what do we need to do? So, we got our chariot here. I'm just going to set it to auto scout. Found another city. That's always nice, I suppose. Same for you guys. You guys are done scouting, more or less. I'm going to send you somewhere. I'm going to disband you. I don't need you anymore. There you go. I don't need you guys. I don't want to keep paying upkeep for something that I am not using. Yeah, they die fast. Try and keep them alive. Set the combat orders to defensive for them. That's the best thing I can advise. So we're getting ready to declare war. And player eliminated. Someone died. The Zhao have been eliminated. Oh, we are in part to blame. And look at that. So that's where their army was, all the way south to finish off the Zhao. So now they're really a danger. So it's a good thing I betrayed them, and it was also pretty good timing, I guess. Next turn we're gonna try and take their walls. Hey Mayosin, nice to see you again as well. And we chased out some guys over here, so we're gonna... well, I don't want to do some overkill, but we're just gonna wait for them right here. I could move north with this stack, but I'd like to be on the defensive until I know that this border is secure. So we're gonna just take this city and then move north. So we have some nice loot that adds to our financial situation. Even though our income is low, we have some loot that generates a little bit of extra. Let's have a look at technology then. We just finished 2 techs, so that's going well. We're here in the warring states, so if we want, we could start researching some Some siege equipment. I think that would be good. I think we're gonna need it. Walls are getting bigger. Yeah, there's a lot to learn about the game, Quirt. But you know, we hopefully with these streams and with you guys experimenting and exchanging strategies on the forums, you know, there's a lot to learn. People on the forum are very helpful if you have any questions. Ooh, look at this. This is a bit dangerous. I mean, they're just militias, but still, I don't like that. We have a good garrison at Handan, so our southern border is pretty safe. Nomads being herders. What about your market? We can win by good economy and alliances. So, can you win by an economic victory or an allied victory? More or less. Let's have a quick look at the victory conditions as a result of this question. We got the victory screen over here. So, there are 3 types of victory. There's the conquest victory, which you get when you have, you know, a lot of military might. So, you control 65% of the game's population. And you're going to get that conquest victory. And you don't need to have it all by yourself. You can also have them as your vassals. So that's the thing you want to remember. You also get the conquest victory if your vassals, their population counts in this percentage. The Son of Heaven victory is slightly different. They don't have to be vassals, but they do have to recognize you as the emperor, and you need 75% of that. So that's an interesting one as well. They're not necessarily your allies in wars and conflicts, but they say, okay, I'm not going to follow you, but I understand why you are the legitimate emperor of China and I'm not. Then there's the cultural victory, which you get when you have a certain amount of cultural points and more cultural points than the others. And the points victory, which is also quite interesting. So if you have the points victory, it's basically a turn timer set on death, and who has the most points based on culture, as well as several other things, you can get the cultural victory. So those are your 4 victory conditions. Now, interestingly, we did a multiplayer game where we had a timed victory condition, so it was still victory points, but we're going to play for 4 hours, and whoever wins after those 4 hours, or whoever has the most points, wins the game. So you can obviously set that up yourself if you'd like to do so for multiplayer games. And if you can watch it back, we did it with a number of streamers. It was very cool to do, very interesting to see, and you can see the same game from the perspective of like 4 or 5 different people. So that's really nice. You can also watch my video back on this channel if you look back at previous videos right here. Let's have a look. I'm gonna hit enter now, I think, because I think I've done everything I can do, and we're preparing for potentially the biggest war yet. So we have our spearmen getting in contact with enemy archers. Now their archers are reasonably proficient, but hopefully we can close into melee with them. While our own archer force is coming up right here, crossing the river. So the spearmen are covering the flank of the main force. And we've managed to, we thought we managed to chase out the archers, but they're gonna, you know, get their distance and keep shooting and be really annoying. Here we are fighting with their remaining stragglers, and over here we have managed to take the city, and we're currently marching in. The roads were confusing me though. Did you manage to find it out, how the roads work? Or do you still have questions on them? Hey Famabel, how's it going? So nice to see you here as well. Famabel used to join me in a couple of multiplayer games as well. Was an intern here at Iceberg Interactive. And good to see that she's still hanging around. So it looks like that their archers actually managed to chase out our guys. Battle report, Yin-Yang. We had a clear defeat, so our guys lost to the enemy archers. That's unfortunate. We're going to try and attack nonetheless. I'm going to set my general to go on the offensive. And I'm going to send these guys in support. Well, someone in forum answered my question, so it's just all good. A bit of odd having to make roads around cities. Yeah, that's something we might patch out actually, because you're right. It doesn't necessarily make the most sense. So we might patch that out later. We're very much considering that. The thing is that we're at the moment focusing on some other things. So the first update you will see most likely will be having to do with the battle AI. Oh, I'm sorry, NCM streaming. I'm sorry I missed your question earlier. No, thank you for asking again. So how exactly do the difficulty setting, what does it do? So what I think it does is that it reduces unrest for AI, so they're more stable. It increases unrest for the players, so there will be more bandits and more chances for revolts. And in addition, I think it also helps the AI financially, as well as perhaps in some combat statistics. So later on in the higher difficulty, the AI has some advantages the player doesn't have. And we are making a loss here, which hopefully we should be able to make right pretty soon. I am going to send this stack north. And I'm going to send a unit over here to intercept. Over here, I hope I can take the city in time, but I'm not quite sure. There's still that big stack here. If it comes north, it could be problematic. If they try and attack me, I think we can take them. We have some pretty experienced archers here that are doing some damage. So we have some buildings complete, including a wooden palisade over here, so I feel a little bit safer. And we captured the city of Guizhou, obviously. Now we can choose what to do with it. We can choose to occupy the settlement, sack the settlement, and destroy the settlement. So if we destroy the settlement, boom, there it goes, it's gone. If we sack it, we keep the settlement, but we destroy it basically for all it is worth. So we can do that, but in the long run, it might not be the best thing. So if you're short term, if you don't think you can hold on to a city you're capturing, sacking might be a good way to go, because you get some money out of it. And it could support your economy. Now, we're just going to occupy it. The reason for that is I want this city to integrate it into my empire as quickly as possible, and I want it to be as big as possible, because pretty soon I want to get river trade or sea trade going. There you go. So that's, in short, what I'd like to be doing this particular game. So the city's in turmoil, so we can't do anything for the next couple of turns. That's okay. We can deal with that. I just need to keep the peace. The city of Yin is idle, so we need to continue farming, obviously. And that's all, I think, for this particular turn. I hadn't tried it out, but was worried that it would simply do what most devs do and to take the lazy route of saying your army will die a lot easier. It's a little bit more subtle than that. It's a little bit more subtle than that, especially because of rebellions. But well, in the end, that's, you know, that's the most efficient way of doing it. We're obviously constantly working on the AI. Like I said, probably the first next big update will be a battle AI. A strategic AI is something else that Bob, the lead developer, has said he really wants to work on and then keep improving. But we're definitely working on the post-release support. One patch has already been released last week, and so hopefully we can expect another one in the coming weeks. Improved AI is always a good thing. There are in-game some unique units. I don't think about finding a unique boot like General Philosopher. I'm not quite sure I understand the question. There are some unique units per faction in-game. They're not super special or exotic because all units are more or less the same culture. So you have to take that in consideration. And we managed to take the city there with our archers. That's good. So they aren't very exotic. There are some unique units per faction, and they're based obviously on their cultural or their historical background. So we captured the city of Yin-Yang, and this is a city we don't necessarily want to keep in our empire or want to keep big for whichever reason, and we're losing a lot of money. So I'm inclined to sack it. We take a lot of loot, and we kill a fair chunk of the population, which honestly, I don't really care. So I'm going to take the city. And I'm going to do what I should have done for the other buildings. Destroy the buildings that are there. I always forget to do this when I capture a city. Destroy these buildings because we're paying a fair bit of upkeep for them. Now the nice thing is we already have a quay here. Perhaps that could be interesting. Are the rivers connected though? I don't think they are. So there's never going to be river trade. But perhaps through here? I don't know. We're going to leave it for now. But I should also destroy my buildings in Guizhou. Because it's costing me a lot of money. I don't have buildings there. Ouch. I'll be doing fine and dandy then. Suddenly 60, 70, 90% rebel. Yeah, it's something you want to keep in check. I mean, the thing is, we don't want to make it too easy to meddle with revolts and rebellions, because they were a big part of Chinese history, and making it too easy to avoid them is just losing that. So if you pay very good attention to it, and you take into account buffer zones more or less, you should be able to avoid having rebellions. But sometimes there's just the perfect storm of things. You get floods, meteor comes up, there's diseases or earthquake, and all these things combined. You might have just issued an edict that lowers or increases the unrest. All those things combined can help to get 2 leaders here. Can help you get a lot of unrest, and then there might be a revolt. Just, it doesn't have to be the end. Try and keep on fighting. Just 2 wars at once, but it cost me everything. LOL was fun too. Yeah, it can be really fun to fight for your survival. It's a real challenge. Alright, so we are doing pretty well. Guju is 1 more turn remaining, and then we can start using it. And we really need to get some money going. But it'll come. It's just annoying that these guys are blocking our trade here. And we took the city over here, which is very good. And we sacked it, so we have a lot of money. Actually, we can use this money, and we sacked it, so it takes 4 turns to come back. We can use this money to start our quays. So we can get our river trade going, guys. Our ultimate goal. So we're going to build our quay right over here. And we're going to build a quay over here. Or should I build it further first? So the Yi comes integrated. Let's build a quay at Yi first. Build a quay over here. That should bring Yi into the trade as well. Suppose we could build a 3rd one at Xiaodu. There we go. In a couple of turns we should get our first river trade going, and hopefully that will bring us some additional cash. And sacking that settlement that we took, it definitely will help for that. Now we have the settlements we wanted. We could potentially offer a ceasefire if we don't want to continue to fight. They are much weaker than us. We took out some of their army. So if we were to propose peace, they would like it. What would they want back from it, though? Perhaps there's some money? We could try it, let's see. They will only want peace if we give them their city back. We're not going to do that, obviously. So any random mission during sessions? No, they're not missions. You set your own objectives. There are some random encounter opportunities, like these icons over here. So if you're sent your leader there, then you something might happen, be it good or bad. But you set your own objectives. All right, we're gonna hit the end turn button. Technology warning. What did finish? There we go, things are going well. Also, another question. Did you expect me to build up over... And then income... That is a nice income, NCM streaming. You might be breaking the game economy there. You might be breaking it. I appreciate the effort, though. I think it's cool. Did you share some screenshots of that on Steam? That would be great. Some old scammer tried to sell me a map reveal of 1700 gold. Yes, those guys are here in game. They are scammers. You know, it costs 35 a turn to send a settler out, or a militia out to scan. That was, I had 20 plus full stack armies. That's pretty cool. What turn number were we in on CM streaming? I'm quite interested. So we have a couple of battles going on. I'm trying to take down their units. It's not the ideal area for flanking. Nonetheless, we seem to have taken them out. And that puts us in a great position. So I think they just build up some walls here. We can start looting a fair bit. But I think we got it covered. I think we're good. I think it's time for peace. I still don't like them that they're over here, but this city is now so detached from the rest of their empire that I don't feel it's too much of a problem. Oh, you got the footage of your whole gameplay on YouTube. That's awesome. So was it mainly for... Yeah, Cabbage is asking, was that money you had mainly from trade or from other things? Because trade can give you a lot of money in late game. You could take the capital of one and just vassalize them, I suppose. Trade mostly. Yeah, turn 555. Okay, so that's one of the things though. I mean, you should imagine that the game generally wants you to play around or at 300 turns. Right, that's the default Android. So especially if you continue on longer, you might get some of those situations. Also depends a little bit on the attack rate, as you can imagine. So what do we want to do with this city? It still takes 3 turns, but I'm somewhat inclined to just let it be whatever. So we just ordered another quay. Guys are building cities. Guju, you can start farming more again. I think that would be good. Same for Gu. We really need to upgrade Gu at some point though. Also to get more construction going. Yeah, it's kind of laggy with the enemy had around 30 plus settlements sending out 20 full stacks at once. The game doesn't like it. No, exactly. You're taking it to the extreme. Cool for videos though, I suppose. Yeah, that's the thing always, you know, you have to balance. On the one hand, you want to give the player as much freedom as you can. On the other hand, you know that at some point, forcing the player into a certain situation actually increases the gaming experience or improves it. Here we chose for the term limit. If we put a hard term limit on there, people would complain. And I think with good reason. So we said, if you can set the term limit to what you want, but we advise you to do this. And I think that's good middle ground. Having said that, we will obviously continue looking into balance, etc. Especially for multiplayer, late game balancing is something that will require continuous attention. And we're very much aware of that. Alright, things are going relatively well. Town of Yin is still doing pretty good. Nice one there. Alright, things are going well. Our income is good. We have some loot, so our coffers are filling again. We won the battle, so we took out those archers. They have one remaining. It's fleeing. It does have a fair bit of experience, so it could be tricky. Our own troop is moving up, and because of the road network, it can move relatively quickly. So with this stack, we could potentially take the town of Wuhan. Sorry to Chinese people. I'm sorry for butchering your names. Ling Zhao. Keep on farming. ABF guys, always be farming. Two more battles again, trying to fight off the stragglers here. We just set one troop to intercept. They don't have really room to retreat over the mountains. So we took out most of them. And I think that should be their end. Is that the case? Or are they still there? They are still there. With a small army. So we'll try and get around. Try and get the surround on them. We continue looting. Notice that this is a bigger stack. So it can loot them more than one farm a turn, which is pretty nice. So our money is flowing well. Did we already order the quay at Handan? We did not. Gonna order it. We're gonna build them quays. Let's see, how far are you guys on your quay? One more turn, and 2 more turns here. So it will take a little bit longer. Here, 1 more turn. And here we have it, 1 more turn. That's good. Is it good to let city have rest some seasons? Yes, it can be good. So what you want to do, it depends a little bit per city, but what you want to do is keep an eye on this. So this is your Peasant Unrest. And Peasant Unrest has several reasons. So they have some reasons to be dissatisfied. There can be local factors, which you don't know what it is. So you don't know exactly what happens, but there's just a general unrest. There's the anger from labor service. Whenever you force them to create new farms, buy buildings, that's essentially forced labor, and doing it too much might cause them to tire out. They just want to tend their own farms, provide their own food, etc. Then there's the overcrowding, which is happening here because the city is growing above a population of 40, while I haven't upgraded the city yet, so it's getting crowded in the city. Then there is the well-fueled edict I issued, which gives me a lot of money, but people have to pay extra, so they don't like it, as well as the salt tax. So that creates peasant unrest. Now you can fight peasant unrest with a couple of things. There's suppression. So there's your authority rating and there's your military strength. So having high authority makes sure that you peasants stay in check. Having a military strength present also does the same thing, provided especially that these are non-peasants that are doing it. If you have peasant militias guarding them, then, you know, they might actually join the peasants in a revolt. Forced labor, I prefer the term labor for the greater good. Exactly, that's what it is. So then we have dissatisfaction reasons we just covered, and the happiness reasons. So if you have a good governor there, that helps a lot. If you have high culture, that helps, and having some edicts like central bureaucracy help as well. So it's a little bit complicated. You have to take a lot of numbers into account. But once you get the hang of it, you'll be reasonably okay in judging, you know, what is dangerous and what's acceptable risk. Even though I did a multiplayer stream a couple of weeks ago where I completely miscalculated and 2 of my cities revolted and rebelled. So, you know, it happens sometimes. And that's part of the game and part of the charm of the game, I'd like to say as well. Town of Handan. We're going to continue growing it, obviously. It's a nice town. It's our biggest city, actually, and we didn't even make it ourselves. Do you guys keep garrisons to keep the peace? In some cases, yes. Not all cases. Yeah, so you can, you know, having high revolt doesn't necessarily mean they will revolt, especially if you have a strong garrison there that might consist of, for example, nobles. If you have a large noble force and even, you know, no matter how disgruntled the guys are, you have a big noble force, so they cannot revolt. They simply don't have the military strength. Will there be more multiplayer streams in the future? I certainly hope so, Famabel. And perhaps you could even join us again. That would be awesome. We're not going to attack Dubai. Only use garrison to get unrest over 50. Yeah, that you know, people set their own guidelines for that. It's a little bit of a mix. Usually my troops are there for a little of garrison, but sometimes, like here in Yin, just purely for defending. We got some bandits over here, and these bandits are spawning because the people are unhappy because I'm burning their farms. So there are more people than there is food. People don't have food, so people have to return to banditry, which is a bit annoying for me as well at the moment. Ooh, I got their leader there. If we can kill it, we might force them in civil war. Who doesn't want to get betrayed by Surtur? I would never betray someone. Alright, let's see. We have some fire here. That's unfortunate, but okay-ish. We still need to save up. But look at that, guys. We got our quays going. We got our quays going. Look at these straight lines. That's what we want to see. And the good thing about that is, let's have a quick look then. We got our last turn. So our trade income jumped a fair bit. Obviously, our expenses jumped a fair bit as well, but I think, taking all things considered, it's a good thing. And we have more quays coming up, so we should consider building more trade buildings here, especially like a silk weaver, right? If we have enough money, we should definitely construct a silk weaver here. I'm in a totally different time zone. What time zone are you in, Fresh? I'd like to know. And here we have a large force. I think we can take it out. So I'm going to recruit a garrison. And there we go. And I should mention, guys, to all of you watching right now, we are doing a contest. If you follow our channel right now, which is also a great show of support, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys do it. But you also get yourself a chance to actually win a boxed copy of Oriental Empires. So all you have to do is follow our channel. We're actually Central Europe as well. We're in the Netherlands, so you're not that far different time zones. So the game has been developed in Thailand, but we are in the Netherlands. So I can disband you, and I could also disband you guys. There we go, get some extra money going, and we are getting loaded. And I like that. Let's see, how much time do we have? We are very close to the end of the stream, actually. So 0 + 1. Yeah, I think we're +2 now because it's summertime. If I win, I want Iceberg to autograph it. Sure, we'll autograph it for you if you win. No worries. I've just found out that my live stream series take almost 26 hours to watch. Wow, that's some dedication. I like that. Then I'll send it to Thailand. You can do that. You can. I'm sure that Bob would be happy to autograph it for you. I don't know if any of you guys catched his AMA he did earlier. Ooh, look at that. We are getting us some loot, and we're getting some money, and another quay got completed. We are doing well. So what we need to do now is build that Silk Weaver, and that will really boost our trade further. So it costs 80, but it produces another trade. Good for trade, and since we're trading with so many different cities now, that will add up. But Friday, let's do some multi. Yeah, we can do some multi again. I'd like that. I think it's a good idea to be hosting some more multiplayer games. Let's see. Let's continue farming. I'll always be farming. And yep, that I do. I'm not hyper talkative, but I do try to talk as much as possible. I've learned firsthand that is a very tricky thing to do. Keep talking, keep playing. I do many foolish things while talking, while I should really be focused on playing. So I feel your pain. Can you drop a link here to your channel then, NCM Streaming? I'd like to see it. Ah, sure. Alright, we'll be looking for that then, NCM Streaming. Thank you. Alright, there we go. We chase them out. I'd like to get one more turn in because I think we can take that city. 2 more turns. We're gonna do 2 more turns, guys. I want to take that city before I call it a day. And we got even more reinforcements coming up. Look at that. Let's see our trade income. So we have income. We have 400. That's not as high as I expect. It's actually lowering a bit. Are we getting blocked somewhere, or is something else going on? We might have lost sound due to other cities also trading with each other, I suppose. We'll see. We should get it back. There we go. So we're standing in front of the gates. We have another stack coming up, and we're gonna take Wuhan and try and force a peace where we get a nice bit of money. And another quay got finished. Look at them trade lines. I think it can only increase your authority. we've got a nice balance of talking gameplay. Thanks, guys. That's nice to hear. Right, so let's see then. We're gonna try and take one more turn, see if we can take this city, even though it's reasonably well protected. So it might not be easy. We might not have enough archers to force enough breaches. We're just gonna try it. And here, are they looting yet? They are not, but they might be soon. I'm gonna send out some troops to try and take care of these guys. Try and take care of these annoying archers, and might force peace pretty soon. Alright, let's hit the end turn button. Just one more turn, exactly. That's always what we're aiming for with these type of games. So here we are. They have a slight, well, I don't even want to call it a relief force, but they're pretty tough units. Some tribal units fighting against our militia. So they're a little bit tougher than we are, but we have the surround on them, or at least the flank. So they should flee pretty quickly, all the while our archers are trying to break and burn down their walls, and our guys are marching in, and hopefully we can get enough breaches going to do some serious damage, or otherwise break through. It will be a tricky one though. I don't think I brought just enough archers. We have another stack coming up though. So let's see what's happening here. So we chased off these guys. Our archers are continuing to fire, trying to get another breach going. It's not going very well. Here we're trying to push through with our nobles, I think, or are they? No, they're not nobles. They're our heavy spearmen. They are better equipped than their opponents, though. But obviously, defending a city is a relatively easy thing to do. We're trying to march in here, and we got the surround on them and the surrender. There we go. That's what we wanted, and we chased off their relief force. So we got the city now, and we could even take the city of Linhu. Which is also on the river, so it could even be integrated into our trade system. We're not going to attack Vai within 7 turns. Surtur, are there plans to remove the AI in field battle outside cities? Yes, Mayosin. There are plans. So Neutron is currently working on AI, mostly battle AI. So there are definitely plans for that, and there's definitely something we want to improve. I cannot give you an exact date or specifics, but it is something we are working on, for sure. And it's something, to be honest, it's not something that, you know, AI is never finished. Let me put it that way. There's always room for improvement and things to do better. So you should take that into account. So it is probably something you will see gradually improving as the game progresses. And if we get enough support for the game, then obviously we can continue supporting the game ourselves a lot longer with more updates, DLC. And of course, AI upgrades would always be for free. We would not charge for that. Look at those quays. Look at that trade. So with that, I'm going to call it a day for you guys. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. I'm going to remind you one more time of the contest. So if you follow the stream, which would be a nice thing to do anyway for us, a nice show of support, you can get a chance to win a free box copy of Oriental Empires. So be sure to do that. In addition, if you want more information on the game, hit the banner below the stream, and it should get you right to the product page where you can get more information. It will link to the forums, to the manual. You can get all the information you need, ask your questions if you have more, and we will be answering them on the forums. And if you'd like to purchase the game, of course, it is available there on Steam. Thanks again for watching. Welcome back, Lebraev. Sorry you missed a little bit. Have a nice evening, Femabel. Thank you, Quert, NCM Streaming, One Sun Mirror, Myosin, Sterile, all you guys. And sorry if I missed any of your questions. Thanks again, and see you next week. Bye-bye.